And so I'm going to talk a little bit about a practice that we can bring into our mindfulness practice to help us touch compassion and self-compassion. And there are different techniques that we can bring into our practice to help us touch this more and more in our lives. And I just want to say that these practices really aren't about manifesting or willing something into reality, but rather about connecting to our tenderness within. And the main practice we'll be exploring today is called RAIN. And RAIN is an acronym for recognize, allow, investigate, and nurture. And so we've been working with most of these already in our mindfulness practice. We're just more intentionally bringing in the compassion element, particularly for unpleasant emotions and experiences. So in the R of RAIN, recognize, we're becoming mindful of what's here, the thoughts, the feelings, the sensations, and the behaviors that are affecting us. And then in the A, allow, this means letting the thoughts, emotions, sensations, or feelings that we've recognized, letting them be there without trying to fix or avoid them. And when we investigate the I of RAIN, we explore the felt sense of it in our body. Normally, when we experience something difficult, we tend to stay in the conceptual and we make attempts at sorting out our experience in our head. But this keeps us up in story mode. And so investigating is most helpful when we step out of the conceptual and bring our attention to how things are appearing in the body. So in these first steps, we're really practicing mindfulness of thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and seeing how they present themselves with mindfulness of the body. And then the N of RAIN is nurture or nourish. And this is where we can provide a caring touch if it feels comfortable for you, or we can offer a kind phrase such as I'm here for you, I'm listening, I love you, keep going. For some, it can be helpful to imagine being engulfed by a warm, radiant light. And then after the rain falls, we sit in the space that is here after we practice rain. And so after rainfall, you can sense the nourishment provided to the earth and even maybe smell the aroma, the pleasant aroma of rain having just washed over everything. And so after our rain practice is over, we sit in the stillness and open presence. And in this space, we have the opportunity to realize that we're not confined to or imprisoned by the difficult emotions or experiences we've had. We can actually find rest, no longer stuck in a trance or any limited sense of self. And I tend to think of emotion as energy in motion. So we're learning to widen our perspective and our window of tolerance for these energies moving through our mind and our body. You might conceptually notice the difference to go from I'm angry or I'm sad to I feel anger or I feel sadness. There's less personal attachment there. And then to anger is present or sadness is present, even less personal attachment. And then ultimately to sensations are present and thoughts are present. This is what the after the rain portion is for. We feel a sense of ease and freedom when we feel this shift into non-identification with whatever difficulty is here. As a concept, it might be helpful, but to experience this shift for yourself firsthand, this is what really brings the practice to life for us. One teacher was asked by a student, "Why do you use the phrase on the heart when telling them to place teachings on their heart?" The teacher responded, "We put them on the heart so that sometime when your heart breaks, they will fall in." So we can train and practice in this way, and it can give us momentum to trend towards this path more and more often, both in our neural pathways and in our life. So this is rain, and it's the primary focus of rain is compassion. And when we bring something to work with in our rain practice, it doesn't have to be big suffering or something that really sets us off or triggers us. It's actually best to start with smaller things that won't send us into a state of overwhelm. So any moment of emotional pain or discomfort can be worthy of a compassionate response. So it can be small things like stubbing your toe or feeling frustrated that someone left the toilet seat up or left the lights on, or they didn't do something we wanted them to do, or maybe we dropped some things that we were carrying, or we get a paper cut, or we relate to something, or your heavy dog steps on your foot. And depending on the circumstances, we might feel frustrated, angry, embarrassed, or ashamed. And we might take that out in different ways on the people or the things around us. And so if we can learn to practice with these smaller forms of pain and suffering as well, it can have a huge ripple effect in our practice and out into the lives around us. Once we finish the rain practice, I may close with a few phrases of well-wishing just to help us touch our widening circle of compassion and love. I will guide primarily using breath and the whole body as the anchor, but you can always feel free to pick a different anchor, such as your hands or feet, or sounds, or your butt on the seat or cushion. As always, feel free to sit out any portion that feels uncomfortable or overwhelming. You can also always stay with your anchor or just feel the body resting in space. And we can always open our eyes if they're closed and name some objects around the room if we're feeling overwhelmed. Or we can tap on our knees or on our cheeks or temples, engaging both sides of the brain and helping us to stabilize if some particularly strong thoughts or emotions begin to bubble up. So just feel comfortable to do what's best for your needs, and together we can courageously hold space for ourselves and others. So however it's best for your body, you can go ahead, if you're not already, find a position that's comfortable for you, so it's balanced and at ease. Feel free to sit, stand, or lie down. As you tune into your body, it's good not to slouch too much if you can, keeping your head, neck, chest, and hips roughly in alignment, lengthening up through the spine in a balanced and unrestrained way. And you can close your eyes if you like, or leave them slightly open or open. And we can begin by taking a few deep breaths if you like. And we can relax our shoulders and the jaw and around our forehead and eyes. And just begin to sense the body breathing. Sensing the breath moving in and out at its own pace. As we breathe in, we know we are breathing in. As we breathe out, we know we are breathing out. And we can sense the pauses in between breaths as well. We'll begin our rain practice in just a moment, so you can stay with your anchor if you aren't ready to practice rain, or if it's okay for you, you can just begin by recalling a moment that was a bit difficult for you. Remember, we can keep this small and light. It doesn't have to be something really triggering or traumatic. Just bringing something to mind that for you felt difficult or a little difficult. This can be like leaning in to watch a movie. Just try to recall how you felt, what was said, or whatever might have happened. And when you get to the scene that brings up some emotion for you, this is where we can pause and deepen our attention. Sense what is most apparent about it, or the strongest feeling that you're aware of. We can even name the emotion that's present, like a whisper in our mind. If it's anger, anger, or sadness. If it's fear, fear, or shame, shame. might be a few feelings. And this is the R of rain. We're just recognizing what is here. Now see if you can invite a sense of allowing it to be here as it is. Remember, we can turn towards what's difficult and invite it to sit with us, just like the kid in the cafeteria with no one to sit with. Here, we're not necessarily agreeing with the way that things went down. We can just allow the feelings that come up to be here. And we can begin to move towards the eye of rain, where we investigate how this is showing up in our body. So letting attention shift into the body, we can start to get a sense of where the feelings are the strongest and where we notice them. Sensing where we might be tensed up or where we might feel some discomfort. Is there a feeling of hurt, fear, anger, or shame? Really feel into your body and sense how your body and heart are reacting. We can also inquire into what we might be believing about this. Is it that something is wrong with you? Or that you're failing in some way? Or that you are unworthy? Or is there a sense of danger? And just sense how this is feeling in your body, in your throat, or chest, or belly. We can even try letting our facial expression take the shape that helps us express the inner experience, or we can let our posture assume the form of what we're feeling. And just sensing what most wants your attention. And stay curious about how things are feeling and appearing in the body. Again, sensing the worst part about this situation and notice how your inner being is responding, how your body is responding. And we can go to the most vulnerable place, shifting into the nourishing and nurturing portion of our rain practice. Just let the inquiry be, what does this vulnerable place most need? How does it want you to be with it? Does it want to feel loved, understood, safe, and cared for? Or just to be accepted? You can even imagine yourself as a child feeling this way. And it may be helpful to bring in a caring or nurturing touch if that's comfortable for you. This can be a hand on your heart or belly or both, or the back of the head or neck or upper back. Or we can touch our cheek. And if not, that's okay too. We can even vary the pressure of the touch so that it feels tender for us. And we can also softly offer a message or a kind phrase like, I'm here for you, or I love you, or I intend to care for you. Or this is how it is right now. Or this also belongs. Or can I be with this? If it helps, you can even imagine someone else caring for you, placing their hand on you in a caring way, or being held by someone who for you represents compassion and care. Maybe it's a dear friend, or a teacher, or a family member, or maybe it's someone you've never met. Maybe it's a spiritual figure, or maybe it's a pet. Maybe it's formless and just a sense of warmth and radiant light. A friend of mine holds the back of his head and imagines his mom telling him, "I love you, sweetie. It's going to be okay." And just noticing any changes in our feelings and in the body. And just letting that vulnerable place be surrounded in a kind and gentle, compassionate care. And noticing the breath in the background, we can start to get a sense of the larger space of presence that's here. So aware of the breath moving in and out. We can sense gravity supporting our body. And just sensing the whole body as it rests in space. And you might notice the difference between when we started, the sense of a small self or an angry self or an anxious self. Again, sensing the breath and the body, taking in sounds and the visual field. And whatever space is opened up, whatever presence has emerged, you might know this natural awareness and presence as the innermost truth of what you are. Widening your attention to sense others practicing in this space with the same intention to wake up their hearts and minds, and sense this heart space, this shared heart space that really is boundless, that includes the whole earth and all beings. And we might sense our desire that all beings might realize their very essence as this loving and kind awareness and presence, that all beings might live from this space, that all beings might touch peace beyond understanding, and that all beings everywhere might awaken and be free. You can begin to open your eyes if they are closed. You can do this slowly and gently, noticing light and color coming back in. We can begin to move our bodies, being mindful of sensations and how we are moving our body. And so, loved ones, as we close our time of meditation together, I want to again thank you for your presence and your sincerity and your dedication to waking up. Thank you for practicing with me.